I genuinely hope the sun does not do that thing where like you can see the blinds all over my entire being. Like right now it's like on a corner of my body, but I guess I'm racing the sun now to get this out. So I guess I should just go ahead and get into this episode and all of the crazy side quests that I've accidentally been going on for truly the past couple of months. But first we have to talk about what happened on May 30th. I have a lot to say. Welcome to the Simply Jamilah podcast. Hello, if you are new, my name is Jamilah, and if you are watching the video version of this podcast, girl, I'm stressing, okay? Because I don't like when the sun just does this to my blinds. It like pisses me off. It pisses me off, which is kind of funny because it very much so goes with the name of this episode. I don't think I've had this problem like in previous apartments, but for some reason with this apartment, it just like the sun comes through so hard that it's like through the blinds. And the crazy thing is that my blinds are closed. What are we doing? I don't know. Also, speaking of crazy things, if you're watching the video, don't mind my hair. But hi, I'm so happy to be here. I'm so excited about this episode despite the name of it. I just am ready to like spill some tea, unleash everything. But first, I have to talk about some good things that have happened. This is not written down in my notes, but I just love seeing Dua Lipa and Caleb Turner all over my feed. I'm sorry. I love it. I have no business being involved in their marriage. I'm not involved. I'm a bystander. I honestly just want to be Dua Lipa's. I don't even know if I want to be her friend or I just want to shake her hand and tell her that she's like beautiful in every freaking way. Like her mind is amazing and then just like walk away. That's kind of all I want in life, but I am so happy for her and Caleb Turner. I guess I really just want their love story because imagine like me falling in love with a man and we're like reading. We don't have to necessarily be reading the same book, but we can just talk about the books that we're reading because I highly doubt I will find a man reading the romance books that I read. Anywho, that was not on my list of like things, but I just like finished looking at Instagram while I was honestly in the bathroom and I saw them on my feed and I was just like, oh my goodness, like they are just so amazing. My feed is Dua Lipa and Off Campus, and I'm honestly, with the way life is, I'm okay with that. Something else I saw on my feed, but it was a while ago and I hadn't had the chance to talk about it. Idris Elba was knighted by King Charles, so now we have to call him Sir Idris Elba, and I think that is like so cool and funny and awesome. More good news. I'm sure everyone's heard about this, but I just want to celebrate it with you guys that Monterey Park, California has become the first city to ban data centers, which is awesome. Data centers are basically what run AI, and I'm sorry to be this person, but I'm also not sorry. I'm going to stick to my morals and my stances. I'm very anti-AI. In the beginning, I was like using it a little bit. I'm not going to deny that. I'm not going to hide that fact, but I've gotten to a point where it's like overkill, and now that I know what it's like doing to not just the environment but like people's livelihoods, I'm like, wait, this is actually really, really bad. And I'm watching it cause people to lose brain cells and just like not think for themselves. Like people are actively not thinking for themselves, and it's kind of frustrating me. And I also hate what it's doing to just like the fine arts and the creative industry. Like I just hate what it's doing to the functionality of humans. So yeah, I'm gonna celebrate the fact that Monterey Park has banned data centers, and that, you know, that helps out in the smallest way in regards to what feels like the fight against AI. I absolutely just, I'm over it. Last piece of good news, the Orange's name is being removed, or it should be getting removed from the Kennedy Center. Okay, and that's all the good news that I have. Very brief. I feel like that's probably the most to the point that I've ever been with that. So let's like round of applause. But like I said, I'm also beating the sun right now. Let's go ahead and get into what this episode is all about, because I kind of hinted, I think, in the last episode that I may or may not have been able to get an episode up last week, depending on if I had to go out of town. And I honestly could have gotten an episode up if I had not experienced what I experienced on May 30th that truly just like threw off the entire first half of the week last week, okay? On May 30th, I decided that I wanted to chaperone a school trip. Which, fine, it was, I mean, I decided way beforehand. I knew it was just going to be a really good time, or at least I anticipated it being a really, really good time. So the fine arts department, specifically those like involving performing arts, had a competition that I believe was like hosted by an amusement park or like belongs to an amusement park. I'm not sure, but the amusement park is located in Williamsburg, Virginia. So if you know what I'm talking about just based off the location, then yes, that. I had to get up at 4 a.m. to meet at the middle school for us to get on the charter buses to go. So we like our charter buses traveled in pairs, and so we were a pair that met at a middle school. It was fine. I was so not awake or functioning. Like I couldn't tell you anything about what happened after I got picked up at that early 4 a.m. start on Saturday, but I do know I had like Biscuitville coffee for the first time. And that's truly like all I could tell you. That's all I could tell you. You know, we leave when the sun is coming up because it is summer, so the sun's coming up earlier. I'm reading my book. I'm living my best life. We're chilling. We're vibing. We're driving on the charter bus, go to our competition. And then all of a sudden, the engine just kind of like, and then stops on the road, on the highway that we're on. So, like, people were, like, trying not to panic. And by people, I mean the children. They were trying really hard not to panic. They got the situation semi-solved. Like, we were able to get the engine back going enough to pull over to a gas station, do whatever needed to be done at the gas station to keep going. So, we made it to our competition, and then we made it to the park. And the park was super fun. I absolutely, like, was overwhelmed. It's a very huge park. I was not prepared for it. I was not prepared for just like the lines and everything. Like it's a weird version of not Disney World necessarily, but it had that same like weird energy as far as like the lines go. But overall, it was really fun. And I love the fact that the kids that I was chaperoning, like my group never met me, minus one girl. They quickly liked me, I guess, and wanted to go on a ride together. And I was like, what's one ride? It's fine. It's no big deal. And so we did that. It was super fun. It was a water ride and I got soaked and they all laughed about it. They had their ponchos on, which I'm happy that they did because they had like shirts that were identifiers of like, oh, they belonged with us. So it was okay if they had ponchos on. I just was not smart. And I was also not going to pay $13 for a poncho. So I just was like, you know what, it's being taken. It's being taken right now and we're just going to get soaked. But besides that, I mean, even that was just like super fun. I went on a riverboat ride. That was great. I did all the super chill things and I made sure that my group was like in check. We were always the first group at checkpoints. So honestly, so proud of the girls. I had a group of girls, which I think made a big difference. And I don't know, they were an awesome group of kids. We did really good competition wise, or at least in my opinion, we did good. I mean, we placed, we got a trophy. We walked out there with a trophy. I'm saying like we as in like the specific performing arts like subject that I was with, but overall there was many subjects there from my school in particular. Well, I guess when this episode's going up, it's not my school anymore, which is kind of crazy. But anyway, we'll talk about that later. There was just a lot of like energy because the school kept winning, just like overall with all of the different performing arts departments. So that was just really good. And I mean, energy was great. Everything was super freaking expensive. Like I will never forget. And it was probably the greatest comment I heard for the day. It was a man, he walked by me and he was like, drinks at Universal are cheaper than Disney World and drinks at Disney World are cheaper than here. Like talking about the amusement park. And I was like, whoa, because $6 for a soda. What do you mean? What do you mean? So I was very like, I was not prepared for how expensive it was going to be for food and different things like that. So I was just super like budget conscious and I didn't eat like the best, but I mean, it's okay. It is what it is. Overall, had a good time. We have an itinerary. We're like doing our best to stick to it. We are the first group from the school that is like, everyone's there. We're checked off. We're good to go. Let's go stand where the buses come and pick us up. So we get there at 8:40, a little before 8:45 actually, to, get on our bus. Bus doesn't show up till 9:45. We're like, oh, okay. It's fine. The kids are telling their parents that they'll be an hour late to getting back. It's okay. It's not okay. We get on the bus. We maneuver out of the theme park. They close at, I think, 10. We maneuver out of the theme park. And we get an announcement from the bus driver that, like, when we're picked up, that was basically like, so while y'all were at the park all day, the mechanic for the charter bus company like drove up to work on the bus and figure out like what happened when we were like driving there and the engine died. He was like, he worked on it. We thought we solved it, but turns out we didn't. So at some point we're gonna have to stop so the mechanic can meet us to keep working on the bus. And maybe 5 to 10 minutes after he said that, it was just slightly past 10 p.m. We are pulling off the interstate onto an exit ramp, trying to get to the side of the road on the exit ramp. Don't even make it that far. and the engine just shuts off again. So we're like on the exit ramp, but like not on the side of the road. So we're like low key blocking traffic. And by we, I mean me and a chaperone who's sitting next to me on the bus. We were looking it up on like Google Maps and Apple Maps, and you could just see like the line of red for people trying to get off the same exit as us. But like we are blocking it. And then because the buses travel in pairs, the other charter bus is like with us and they're behind us. So we're there, waiting on the mechanic. I mean, we're just trying to like entertain ourselves. The younger kids, because my bus was a combination of middle school, high school kids, they are just like, the younger kids are chilling, they're asleep. The high school kids are just, they're being themselves. We'll just say they're being themselves. And then it's a little after 11 p.m. that we basically get told bus is done for. Bus is done for. It ain't coming back to life. And then plans start trying to get figured out. Like, how are we going to get home? Because we were only 10 minutes outside of the theme park. So we still had almost a 3-hour drive to get back. I'm trying my best to not panic, but I'm tired because I had been up since 4 a.m. I had been on high alert. I walked so much during that entire day just trying to make sure my group's together. And then it's just a giant theme park. Like, we're exhausted. Fortunately, it wasn't super hot as far as like being at the actual theme park. Like, it wasn't the worst weather to experience the park in. So I wasn't like heat hot or heat tired. You know what I mean? Like, there was no like heat exhaustion. So that was fantastic. But once he said that, there was mild panic. They were trying to figure out ways for us to get back. And then eventually we get told another bus is coming to get us. Well, that bus still had to drive almost 3 hours to come get us. So we're like literally stuck on the side of the road. At some point, I guess they like are able to get the engine going on the bus that we're on. So we move from the side of, well, kind of the side of the road of the exit ramp to like a random gravel lot by a 7-Eleven. And when I say it was like 1 to 2 miles away from where we were, because where we stopped, the only light was the street light. And then me and the chaperones looked it up. We were trying not to like freak the children out, but we were literally next to a plantation. And there was just pure darkness. Like, it was a little nerve-wracking. It was a little nerve-wracking. But we go 2 miles down the road and we go find the next source of civilization, which is a 7-Eleven gas station. And instead of just parking at the gas station, they parked at a gravel lot across the street from the gas station. But the new bus comes and gets us at 1:15. I remember the time, it was 1:15 a.m. that we finally like are on the new bus and we like hit the road. And we're on our way back. And I'm like not sleeping on the way back. I'm doing the best that I can to sleep, but my anxiety was just like, oh my goodness, especially every time he like slowed down and like he had to stop to use the bathroom, and he stopped at a gas station. I don't know why he thought that gas station was open at like 3 a.m. It was a Shell gas station. Absolutely not. They're not open 24/7. But he like stopped to use the bathroom, ended up having to go in the back of the bus. Like, every time we stopped or slowed down, I was like freaking out. Like, I'm up, I'm alert. What's going on? I just want to go home. We make it back to the school that we met at that morning. We make it back at 4:08 a.m. on Sunday. We were supposed to be back by 11:45 p.m. on Saturday. Okay. We make it back to the school Sunday. Most parents are there, like, ready, pissed off, getting their children, and then they leave. There were some parents that we had to wait on, and we're just trying to, like, figure out, you know, what to do, how to help the children get a hold of their parents, because it is almost at this point, it's, like, super early in the morning or the middle of the night, depending on how your Saturday went. I don't know. I eventually make it home, and it's, like, 4:30 a.m. It's, like, 4:38, 4:36 a.m., one of those numbers. I walk in, Clover, pissed, okay? Now, I will say I did not anticipate this. Obviously, you don't anticipate it happening. So my friend came and fed Clover dinner and then played with her for like an hour. And then I texted my other friend, who's also Clover's dog sitter normally. I was like, hey, like, you're back in town. I don't know when I will be back in town. And so she came and relieved Clover and like put her back about 11 p.m. But Clover, I mean, rarely sleeps like overnight in her crate. And she kind of had a sense of like, okay, wait, I've been in here way too long. What is happening? So Clover did sleep on the couch. She was very angry. But it was one of the most like insane experiences. Like, I did not anticipate basically being up for over 24 hours and 3 of those hours being spent on the side of the road in a city that I had just gone to for the first time like that day, and not even being able to see life really because it was super dark outside. Now we did see a little something that like freaked the kids out. We saw like a tree branch getting closer to the window when we were stuck on the like exit ramp, but it turns out it was a semi truck driver who basically like snapped the base of a tree in half over the like guard railing that's on the side. And he did that so that way he could get by on his truck, because like I said, we're like blocking part of the lane, and he was able to like scared every bone in my body, and the children were trying to not freak out, but like he was trying to like squeeze in between the guardrail and us halfway on the road, and he made it. And then 3 more trucks came behind him and they made it. But besides that, I mean, there was just not much life around us. And because that happened, I wanted to talk about it in last week, but I like struggled really, really hard with waking up and just getting my sleep schedule and myself back together. Because even though, you know, I was like, I have Sunday, I can rest, but my body was like, no, baby, you wake up when the sun wakes up. I was talking to someone at church about this, how I've learned with myself that I'm only a light sleeper when it comes to light. Like, someone could be talking next to me and I will go to sleep. Like, sounds, things, yelling, none of that wakes me up. But if you like put the sun in my face or turn a light on in the room, I'm up immediately. So I don't know if I'm like light sensitive in my sleep or whatever that means, but when that happens, I'm up. So anyway, I spent a good portion of the first half of last week like trying to recover from that, and I wanted to talk about it in the podcast and just like dissect it, but then I couldn't because I was just simply trying to get my schedule together. And then by the time I get my schedule together, I had to leave to go to Raleigh for military testing. So let's talk about me trying to join the reserves, the Army Reserve. Because when I tell you side quest so hard, like I side quested to a whole different dimension, it feels like. I don't remember, it had to have been in like April. I think it was in April. I was on lunch duty at the high school, and the recruiters, they always set up outside the cafeteria, and they like recruited me while I was on lunch duty outside the cafeteria. Like, I'm actively, which our version of lunch duty is just counting how many kids go in the bathroom. Don't ask me about it. Listen, as of the day that this episode goes up, I'm done. So I don't know. I don't answer. I was simply there trying to make it. Okay. They were selling it so well. They were like, you only got to work 1 weekend a month. You get money towards your student loans. It's a great bonus check every month. The benefits are fantastic. I'm like sitting here like, what? Yeah, like this is great. Like, I never knew that this was like, you know, the perks of joining the military. And then they were sitting here like, you don't have to fight. You can just do admin work, or you can be like a chef, like selling it. Okay. I didn't do JROTC when I was in high school, so I know nothing about like the military structure, what it's like to join. I know none of it, or at least I can say I knew none of it. Okay. Because WOW was Wednesday and Thursday of last week an experience, okay? Even before that, like when he was talking to me, I mean, he was just selling such a pretty picture for joining the reserve. And then like where I live, the location of like the nearest base office, whatever it's called, it's not far. So I was like, ooh, 1 week in a month. I don't have to stay overnight. I can come home to my dog. Like, we're doing great. I can do this. I'm sitting here like, yeah, like I can do it. I'm going through the process. I'm giving them my documents. I mean, you know, I'm like actively doing what I can to join the Army Reserves, right? So as I'm going through this process, I'm having to meet with like my specific recruiter multiple times to like give them the correct information. They have to like know all about your tattoos, the meaning of your tattoos. Like, you know, you have to give them all the legal documents to prove you're a U.S. citizen, like everything. As I'm getting closer to June 4th, I'm realizing that my recruiter was only like providing like half information. I started figuring out like the full truth as we got closer to June 4th. Even the week prior to that, I'm sitting here panicking, okay, because I thought I only had to go to Raleigh on June 4th. And there was a day, it was May 26th. because it was a day full of like appointments and things. I got my eyes dilated and then let it like get to a point where I could drive, and then I drove to the Army office. I was wearing sunglasses most of the time that I was there. 10 out of 10, do not recommend. Never do anything crazy when you get your eyes dilated. Fun fact. Just don't make my mistakes. And I've made multiple, as you can tell. But so I get there, and there's other like sergeants in the office, and then I find out that I have to go up June 3rd for another kind of testing. So I have to go June 3rd and June 4th. Meanwhile, at the school, like I had to turn in all of my like leave time or whatever on May 20th. So I'm like sending a quick email, which at this point, I don't know if I've said this, but I got a new job. So at this point, I already have the new job, and I truly don't think they care about me unless, you know, homegirl wants to send another passive aggressive email or something, I don't know, or wants to tell me what to do and then put a whole bunch of computers around my desk and then figure out why I'm not doing it because you disrespected the crap out of me. But anyway, so like no one acknowledged the fact that I had to go up like June 3rd and June 4th. And it, again, I think that they're at a point where they just don't care because I'm leaving. And like, as long as we're swapping that energy, fine, I'm cool with it. I find out from this like conversation where I meet the other like recruiters and sergeants and people, like I find out that I have to go up June 3rd. I found out like my contracted time, which was like 6 years. And then then we have the piercings discussion, which that was going to be the reason that I simply could not join, because I did not want to take my piercings out. I did not, because I had a piercing in, it was my rook. And that sucker was just not, I mean, she was like still healing. My body heals very slowly. And I thought she was like fully healed until Clover smacked the crap out of me in my ear one day. And like a bunch of blood and like nastiness came out of that piercing. And I was like, brother, you're still healing. Got it. So I'm low-key frustrated, right? Just sitting here May 26th. I'm a little frustrated because I'm finding out information that I feel like I should have known a while ago, right? So I can prep my job and tell them like, hey, I won't be there these days. And like, so I can prep Clover, right? Because I had to, now if it was just June 4th, I mean, it's a not quick. I don't live close to Raleigh, but it's like a drive to Raleigh. It's a day trip basically. And that would have been fine. Clover would have been fine. But now you're telling me that I have to be there overnight, which means I need to find someone quickly to watch my dog. So then I asked my dog sitter, who was supposed to have been taking care of something herself. I was like, hey, do you know someone that you trust to watch my dog? Because after I used the Rover app and got the homegirl during, I think it was my New York trip. Yeah, it was my New York trip, and she like broke my blinds. I was like, okay, so I definitely am not going to use her again. But I couldn't ask my friend who fed her the night that the whole bus thing happened, because she has her own reasonings for why it's like complicated. And I didn't want to be like, hey, like this is so last minute. I've learned that with specific like friendships, I can't be last minute. So but I felt bad because I was like, there's one person that I know who could know someone else. So I asked Clover's dog sitter if she knew anyone who would be able to like help out just like very quickly this one night, because it was a week out. Even if I wanted to use the Rover app, I get charged extra for not, you have to reserve like more than 2 weeks in advance or something like that. Like I was not about to take that L. So fortunately that worked out to where like she did know someone who could come watch Clover, and I think she ended up even being here herself. I'm a little upset because I don't know that all of this is needed. All of this is necessary. Also, I apparently way more than I thought I did. So I'm happy that I'm a woman. You know what? Even the outfit I'm wearing now, it's a denim like jumpsuit, and I have worn this for I've had this since at least high school, I think. So the fact that I still fit it, even though I've gained some weight, I'm okay with it. I'm winning. So if this is womanhood, brother, I'm okay with it right now. But granted, I'm barely 27. We're in that floating area where I'm about to be 27. Actually, that's next week. Barely doing good at beating the sun. So I find out my weight. I'm being told I got to lose a couple pounds because my BMI, I'm like barely good. I'm barely good with my BMI. Body mass index or something like that. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like, all of these things are being told to me that I feel like, if you wanted me to lose weight, don't tell me the week before the weight needs to be lost that I need to lose it. Okay? Because I need more time. I need to prepare for these things. Yes, I can be spontaneous with a trip. I can be spontaneous with a lot of things. But when it comes to this, something as strict as joining the military, I need to be prepared way ahead of time. My recruiter simply didn't prepare me. So I'm a little upset here. You want to know what pisses me off? I mean, we're like getting closer to June 3rd. We're getting closer to when I have to leave. We agreed on the time of 8:30 to meet at the Army office so we can go over like what all this testing and the physical and all the things are going to be like. Like we agreed. The night before, June 2nd, I even was like, see you at 8:30 tomorrow, right? And he was like, yes, I'll be there. When I say don't piss me off. Now, my friends, they'll be late to things. I'm late to things. It's fine. But when we're late, we communicate. So 8:30 comes, I'm there. I'm calling, I'm texting, I'm knocking on the door, but that's useless because there's a closed sign on the Army office. And like nothing. No response. 8:45 passes, nothing. 9 o'clock, nothing. 9:15, nothing. I'm pissed. I'm so mad because again, okay, you're late, but it happens. People are late, but they communicate. Okay. And what made me so mad about it is the fact that I had to be at like in Raleigh at I think 11 a.m. to take my ASVAB test. So like we're on a time crunch now because you're an hour late. And by this point, it's 9:30. You're an hour late, and I still have to make that drive and somehow get there on time. Never shows up. Recruiter never shows up. So I leave at 9:30, and I just like make my way to Raleigh and hope that I make it on time for the ASVAB. 20 minutes into my drive, he calls me. That all I get is that something came up, and he left his work phone on the fridge. Like he's talking, and I'm just like, whatever. Yep, sure, fine, okay, yeah, it's whatever. It's what I kept saying. It's whatever over and over because the more you're trying to like make up for it by not saying anything substantial, like you're pissing me off. Okay, and then I'm not prepared for what I'm about to walk into. So thanks, right? I'm just gonna take both earrings off because this one's just not having it, and I understand. Then he's like in a rush on the phone to pick my military job. And I'm like trying to figure out why. Like, why are we in a rush? And he like signs me up for like a military police officer job when I was told that I could do like admin or culinary and like those were available near me. And apparently they like weren't. So the selling point that you gave me for me to even start this process, not available at all. You want me to be a police officer in the military. I'm driving. I'm annoyed. Like, you were late. You're rushing me into a job. It's a job that I don't want. And then on this drive, you tell me that I have to be shipped off for boot camp. What? And I want you to remember, I know nothing about the military. This is going to sound so ignorant of me. And if it does, I mean, fine. But again, I knew and know nothing about the military. So and then it kind of goes back to the half truths too, right? Because we're talking and I'm talking to him over the course of like a month and a half, really. And I'm like, hey, I can't go overseas. I don't need to be like shipped off anywhere. Like I can't travel anywhere. And he's like not really answering me when it comes to like, hey, am I going to be sent somewhere? I can't be sent anywhere. No. You just got to work like 1 week in a month and it'll be like local. Like you'll be all right. Okay. But I can't, as long as I'm not going anywhere, like we're fine. And like I knew boot camp basic training, that's what it's called. I knew basic training was like a thing, but I thought it was just like a thing that if you were active duty, you had to do. Meanwhile, I'm joining the reserve. The difference between active duty and reserves barely got explained to me, to be honest. And if you ask me what it was right now at gunpoint, then I guess I'm done for, because I couldn't tell you. I don't know. But they were just like active duty. I mean, reserves, you just got to do 1 week a month. That's all I'm getting told. 1 week in a month. Okay. So then I'm driving to go take this ASVAB test and you're telling me I have to leave for basic training September 7th. What? Don't piss me off. Because I've asked you since we met, do I have to go somewhere? I cannot go somewhere. And you're like, no, like you're not answering. You're giving me half truths. Oh, I'm mad. I get to the military building and I'm like low-key steaming. I'm sitting in my car. I'm taking my piercings out. At this point, we're going through the motions because we're pissed, right? So I go in, I do the ASVAB, I finish the ASVAB. Since it's overnight, the military does provide a hotel, so that's great. So I have like an hour and a half to kill after I finish the test. I'm able to get my piercings back in. Super happy, right? Because I was freaked out that I couldn't get my rook back then. And I'm happy I get my piercings back in. And I low-key just started driving around because the hotel wasn't super near the military building. And I like go and I find lunch somewhere. And then I get a call to kind of fully debrief me on what's going to happen on June 4th, which is like the physical exam. So I get the medical debrief as far as like what's going to happen on the 4th. And I'm like prepared. I thought the sun has beat me, by the way. She is on my face. So please don't mind that. I wonder if I like turn my blinds the other way. Does that make a difference? It makes a difference when you change the direction your blinds go in. Keeping this note for the future. Anyway. Back to what I was saying. I can now sit in a relaxed position instead of trying to inch away from the sun on my face. So I go to the hotel that is military provided. I talk to the guy. He tells me all the things. I don't really remember much. I just know I'm tired and I'm pissed off, right? So I go into the room. Again, half truths. He just tells me that, we get a hotel and the military pays for it and like I'm good to go. I would have loved to know that I have a roommate. I didn't know I had a roommate for the hotel for the night. My pants are actively laying on the other bed when she walks in. Because I was sweating, I took my pants off and I just got under the bed with my book and my phone, prepared to take a nap and just relax. I laid my pants on the other bed. Like my stuff is just spread out everywhere. And she walks in like an hour and 15 after I get there. And I'm like so confused. But I had a roommate. Again, really wish that someone had told me that because I don't know how joining the military works. I'm going to reiterate that. So we're chilling. I mean, we ended up, she talked more than I did, but she ends up just kind of like talking. She's 10 years younger than me. Most of the people that were there were. So that's exciting. Let's see. I mean, we do a debriefing. I accidentally leave the debriefing. I did not know that I was supposed to stay, but his question wasn't clear. So I did leave. And then it was after I left that the girl I shared the room with was like, you're supposed to stay, right? And I was like, babe, you should have told me that before I got up and left. There was a specific dinner provided. There was a specific menu for us who were actively joining the military. It wasn't the same as the rest of the restaurant that everyone had. And then we had to eat in a whole separate room. It was nasty. I got spaghetti and meat sauce, and it was the square baked dry spaghetti. It was very disgusting. It came with garlic bread that had sprinkled cheese melted on it, and it was stuck together. I could not. We had an early wake up time. We had to be up by 4:10, 4:15. She had an alarm set for 3:50. I woke up at 4:10. I get there. We're not allowed really in the building till 6 a.m. So we're just standing in line outside. So I go to meet with the person to check in at the Army office. And he's like, you're here for your physical and contract. Huh? What? What did you just say? What do you mean? So I find out that after my physical, I am supposed to sign a contract and enlist. What? When I tell you that was never told to me, I was pissed. I was angry. I was hot, bro. I was so mad. Because again, I know nothing about joining the military. I'm telling my recruiter I know nothing about joining the military. And I find out that I was supposed to enlist right after my physical. What? So I can get shipped off on September 7th? No. But I do the physical. I do. And I'm waiting until after. Well, I told the guy that I checked in with, I was like, no, I'm not signing a contract today. And he was like, is there a reason why? And then I was like, well, I don't like the job. I don't want the job. Military police officer? I don't want that. I want to sit behind a computer and do admin crap. Hello? And apparently there were no jobs like that near me, but you said that there were. You said that there were. Oh, I was mad. So then it's time for the physical, and they do a physical. Okay? They do it all. If you're a woman, all. I felt really bad for the girls who were 10 years younger than me who had never had a pap smear, because they were not prepared for the all of it all. Okay? But like the first thing I got messed up on, they like checked my weight and height. I lost the weight that I needed to lose. Shocked. But I also took my weave out, so that might have like helped, to be honest. But then she was like, she said I was 5'5". When have I ever been 5'5" in my 20-something adult life? I have, and this may not sound crazy, but I have always been like 5'6", if not 5'6.5". When have I ever been 5'5"? And it makes a difference because of the whole BMI number. So because I got measured at 5'5", my BMI was off, and then I had to get taped. Oh, I sat there wide-eyed like, what is happening right now? So then they started us on the physical process. We had to meet in a classroom and kind of had to go over like what the physical part of the process was going to be. Like, I was able to do my height, weight, vision. I think that was it, actually. Yeah, I was just able to do my height, weight, and vision before we met in the classroom. And then these like little sticker things are handed out. And I'm looking, and all the guys don't have like their specific gender next to their name. All the girls do. There's an F for female. And I'm like, okay, so that's just so they can, figure out like which side of the room we'd sit on, because we were separated guys and girls. Why was there not an F next to my name? And like on every document, I am designated a female. I was born with the lady bits. Then he talks about, like enlisting all the things like after we're done. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm not. But I'd go through the physical process. It wasn't bad. Honestly, this might sound crazy. I've had to get my blood taken a lot this year. And it's only June. I don't want to talk about it. And it's not me donating blood either. Trust. But like there at the military place, and there's a specific name for it, but I'm gonna keep calling it the military place. That was the best like blood drawing I've ever experienced. And it scared me because she used my right arm. My left arm is where you can see my veins, so it's just a little bit more obvious, a little bit easier. She's my right arm where you can't see my vein. Brother, I was stressing. But she found it, she eased that needle in, and even though I like really felt the needle, I felt so comfortable. Like it was like getting a tattoo low-key, and like they were like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine, I'm chilling. It was so smooth and like almost soft. It was like a soft situation. I don't know why, but getting my blood drawn was the best part of the day. So you're probably wondering, or not, if I enlisted. No, I did not. Why? Multiple reasons. But the main reason is that I didn't even get the opportunity to sign a contract. Why? Because my medical record. God is good. Now, at the time when I was like bleeding, I'm sorry if you're a guy and I'm about to be real TMI and blunt with this, but it is what it is. I'm a woman. When I was bleeding out because of my period, I was like freaking out, right? I was like, oh my goodness, like I've been on this sucker for over 30 days. Like what's going on? But because of that, my iron levels were dropping. Therefore, I was deemed anemic. And it was on my medical record. And when you join the military and you go through the whole physical process, they have your medical record pulled up. Yeah. So first off, my anemia saved me. Second off, I have weekly sessions with my counselor or therapist. And so that helped. And then they saw the Lexapro prescription. Between like previous depression and still experiencing anxiety and then the anemia, they were like, you kind of can't keep going today. And I said, say less. I think they saw me smiling really hard when they were like, we need a waiver done. I was smiling hard because y'all were about to get told all the way off. And not even y'all. It would have been my recruiter. And honestly, he's on leave this week. So if he reaches out to me when he comes back next week, I'm going to be like, I'm going to say a lot of words that I'm not going to say on this podcast episode, because you left out so much information that I had a right to know. And as someone who, again, was not in JROTC and who knew nothing about the military, and because I have a job and a daily life, I didn't have the most time to look up information. Also, I don't know if I mean, obviously I can't trust Google. it feels weird and it feels wrong. Like half the time when the little like AI overview thing comes up on Google, it's like not correct. It just it combines a bunch of resources together and creates a formulated sentence, but that sentence is combined of resources that have nothing to do with each other. Anyway, I had very limited knowledge, and you knew that, and you continued to kind of let me keep going in ignorance. Yeah. So if he reaches out when he gets back from leave, I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna raise some Cain. I'm gonna raise Cain. Okay. But my medical record and everything, it saved me from signing any sort of contract, which I was not gonna do. I was not gonna do it anyway. So it's fine. I have to figure out how to formally be like, hey, stop talking to me. I don't want to join anymore. But maybe that's the way to do it. Let me just let the anger shine through and just say it for myself, because I was pissed. I was pissed all the way off. And then to make it worse, afterwards, because our piercings had to come out, I couldn't get 2 piercings back in. And I wanted to cry, but I was like on the phone with a friend, and as I'm like swearing to high heaven, like I'm saying every word possible because my ear is actively bleeding because I'm trying to get my rook piercing back in, I realized that the 2 piercings that I could not get back in felt like a couple of chapters that needed to be closed. One of them, I have 2 helix piercings, or I had 2 helix piercings on my right ear, and one of them closed up, and it actually ended up being a piercing that I got with someone that I'm no longer friends with. So it really truly felt like, oh, like that wasn't close to that chapter. I really only got that piercing because she wanted to go get her ears pierced again. And I was like, well, you know, I'm always down to get something pierced. So I just kind of got that piercing because she was going to get hers pierced. But now it feels like that friendship, that chapter, fully closed because that piercing hole closed, gone, kadoosh. And then my rook did end up closing, as you could guess, by bleeding profusely when I tried to put the earring back in. But it's okay because the earring that was in my rook that was keeping it open was from a wedding that I was in. I don't know if you remember, it's been a long time, but the wedding that I was in where I ended up throwing up during the ceremony and the bride stopped talking to me, like that's where that like earring came from and that piercing. So not necessarily the piercing I had before that, but they changed the earring so it would work with the jewelry of the wedding. It closing was kind of like a for real goodbye, which I said goodbye to that friendship a long time ago with like no regrets, no curiosity really. And it just like fully felt closed. So yeah, it like is unfortunate that my piercings closed and I felt like I was bleeding out in my car trying to put my rook back in. But at the end of the day, it was a close to some chapters that needed to be shut. And one thing about me, when I like shut a chapter and I'm done with a friend, I'm done. If I were to want to keep going, I would need a 5-year pharmaceutical record and I would have to do another blood test. Obviously, that's not happening. That's not happening. I would not join after being repeatedly lied to or told half-truths because, again, I'm actively asking you if I have to travel somewhere, like overseas, or if I have to like leave my life to join, and you're like not answering. You're just telling me over and over, it's just, you just got to work 1 weekend a month. And that's your training. He said that too. He kept saying that 1 weekend was my training. No. Fun fact, you go to basic training and then you have to go somewhere else to get trained in the job that you're going to do before you can do it where you live. No. Absolutely not. I love working in education. I would never, like, all of a sudden sacrifice my current career in education to go join the military when you did not prepare me at all. Speaking of pissing me off, let's get into some things that I have, like, recently consumed, okay? First off is The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. It is a book. It is apparently a popular book, and I'm still trying to figure out how. People are like, I never saw the plot twist coming. Babe, you need to pay attention. Okay? I think I said this in the last episode. I was going to talk more about it when I finish, and I'm finished. And I don't know what else to say besides the fact that if you pay attention, you can see the twist coming. And I deep dove into the reviews after I finished because there are other people who experience the same thing I experienced, and it made me feel good about humanity. Because that's literally all it is. And it's not me. I'm trying to do better about like not taking the enjoyment out of books, but also like I'm not going to go into a book completely ignorant and blind so that way I can experience a plot twist. Like I'm going to be trying, I pay attention so that way I can really delve into the world that I'm reading. And to do that, you just kind of have to lock in on the details, at least for me. So when I'm locking on the details to dive into this world of Camp Emerson, I'm kind of catching on to like, yeah, you're sleeping with this person, you're sleeping with that person, and you're being framed. Like, it's so easy to kind of just like figure out low key. So none of the plot twists were plot twists for me personally. I kind of had everything figured out. I think the way it was written was very interesting. I do kind of like the multiple perspectives, and there are many time jumps in it. I will say that there are time jumps within the time jumps, and that gets a little confusing after a while. I want to say it's my lowest rated book of the year so far, and it's 2.75. I gave it 2.75, and I don't even know why I gave it that 0.75 now that I'm saying it out loud, but I guess I did. It was honestly one of those weird situations where we didn't need like a conclusive ending. You could have just left it like kind of open, and we could figure out how it ended. Something else that I just have not been a fan of recently, or that I finished season 2 of Running Point on Netflix. It's a Netflix original. I don't know, I was just really disappointed with season 2, and like I just, for some reason, no offense, but because it's like executively produced by Mindy Kaling, I just had a feeling that season 2 was going to end the way season 1 ended. And it's not a spoiler if you watch season 1, but I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say what it is, but I'm not shocked with the way season 2 ended. It just, overall, like, it was just mildly angering, because I just feel like we could have really done something with it, and we just didn't. And a new season's coming. Season 3's coming. So, like, happy for them. Happy for the cast. But it just lacked a lot, in my opinion, compared to season 1. And I don't think I want to watch season 3. I'm not going to hold you. Because season 2, like, there just wasn't many funny moments. Like, in season 1, Isla runs into glass, and it's hilarious the first time. But then you're going to keep putting that in there, especially in season 2, and it's like, babe, she's already run into glass before. So, it's like, why is this back on my screen? So that's where it's just kind of like, okay, like, because it reached a point where it just kind of became background noise, if I'm being completely honest. Another thing that's a Netflix original that I watched, it came out recently. It actually came out last Friday, ? It is Office Romance on Netflix. It is Jennifer Lopez's new rom-com, and it was so boring, actually. It was pretty boring. It was visually disturbing. Like, I know I've talked about it before, how I can't stand childbirth. Like, it's just, watching it disgusts me. And there is a scene in this movie that throws you completely off guard regarding childbirth. It like will randomly come into my vision when I'm like driving or something, and it's so disgusting, and it makes me so sick. I don't even want to talk about it. Honestly, the best part of the movie is the facial expressions of the guy who plays Greg from HR. I don't know that actor's name, but his facial expressions were great. I laughed every time. I think that's the only time I really laughed, is whenever he reacted with his face. But even then, I think they knew that he was going to be the comedy of the movie, because the like final sequence during the end credits is just him in his office making multiple facial expressions and having different reactions. And even at that point, I was like, okay, this is a little overkill. You know, you're taking away my love for the HR guy. That is this episode. And I mean, you can click out now if you want, but I just want to say this episode's going up on June 11th. It is the day of graduation for the class of 2026 for the high school that I, as of today, will no longer be working at. And it is weird to say goodbye. I thought I could give it another year. Obviously not under, if you want to call it leadership, you can, whatever it is, obviously not. But the class of 2026 stuck it out. Y'all stressed me out so bad. As a class, you stressed me out. There's 2 girls that I have really come to like love and care for. But if I'm looking even like, they stressed me out in and of themselves, but even going beyond them, the different kids that I met who were like, yeah, I'm graduating this year. Baby, I need you to act like it. Okay. To the class going out into this world, don't piss me off. Do great. Don't give up on yourselves. Please don't give up on yourselves. And just continue to to explore all that life has to offer, no matter where you are. I mean, get out of your small town, and if you don't want to, stay in your small town, but explore it, understand it, learn the history, expand your minds. Really just expand your minds. That's all I ask for. As a wannabe librarian who needs to finish getting her degree, just expand your minds and trust yourself, and be okay with the mistakes that you make on this journey as you learn how to trust yourself and as you learn who you are, because you thought you knew who you were in high school and you just simply didn't. Unless you were a butthole, then you definitely peaked in high school, and I can't wait for life to tell you that. But no, seriously, I want the best for you, and I want to see all of the amazing that you do, and just want to see you grow. Want to see how you take the challenges that we are presented with and kind of twist them into your own triumph. Okay, that is my spiel. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Simply Jamilah podcast. I am so honored, and if anyone ever sees me near a recruiter ever again, just remind me of this episode and push me to the ground, out of the way, please. I'll be in your ear next week with another episode, and when that episode comes out, I will officially be 27. Ew! Okay, I gotta go. Bye.